I told you I'm going to tell you a quick story, right? Uh, so it will be like this. We have a good imagination power, right? You know or not, right? As human beings, right? We have a good imagination power, right? So that is one of our talents, right? That is one of our talents, and with that, I'm going to tell you a small story, right? This story will continue at few moments in the session, right? And you will know finally what I what I'm going to play, right? Right. So just imagine, okay. So most of our sessions goes with the like, interesting, so like stories, imaginations like that, right? So at the end of session, right? At the end of not this session and when you're near to all of us, right? So you will understand what is the importance of these imagination sessions, right? Right. Okay. So if you're there, just close your eyes. Okay? Close your eyes and try to imagine what I'm going to tell. If this is successful, you've done, right? So just try to imagine. I'm going to tell you a story. So the thing is, just close your eyes and just imagine you are in a beautiful forest. Okay, an environment like Avatar. If you watch the movie Avatar, such beautiful environment is there, right? So such environment, right? You are there, you close your eyes, but you're feeling that, right? Now you are in a forest. Okay, now you are in a forest. Nearby there on your left side, there's a waterfall. Beautiful waterfall is there, right? Surroundings, you can hear a lot of sounds of lot of animals, lot of birds, like kitty sound, right? And the falling of water, right? And you can feel the environment, somewhat cold, okay, not too much hot, right? It's beautiful, calm environment. You are there, right? You see the surroundings, okay? So you see the surroundings and you're moving here and there. You can listen to a lot of sounds, right? You try to vary it. Okay, is this sound is from a bird, this sound is from an animal, okay? Okay, so likewise you're going to separate them, right? And after you're enjoying, that means you're on a trip now, right? You're on a trip, your camp is there, your tent is there, right? So your tent is there, and so you're going here and there, and after that, after little, after being there for a long time, you see the waterfall, right? You get a bath, right? Whatever thing you want to imagine, you imagine, right? So after that, it's been sunset, okay, sunset. Also that you're watching it, right? And after that, you come inside the tent, okay? It's being at night, right? It's going to be a night. So you want to eat something, no? Right? So you want to eat something. You're going to put some barbecue, right? But the thing is, you are alone, right? You are alone, right? You are alone, but you can enjoy. Think you can enjoy. You see the surroundings. You enjoy your loneliness and the nature, right? So at this moment, you're going to eat, right? You're going to have your dinner, right? After having your dinner, you're trying to go to sleep, right? Trying to go to sleep, right? Just now, open up your eyes. We'll be continuing this story after little while, after little while, right? So, right now, open your eyes and you can imagine, no? You could imagine something, no? Like a forest. Okay, there was few trees, waterfalls was there, like that. You can imagine. That means you have a good brain power, right? You have a good brain power, right? So if I tell like this, for this thing, what you need is you need a proper coordination and proper homeostasis in your body. Actually, a proper coordination, right? Even okay, even the external environment changes. Even the external environment changes. You can detect them. One thing is you can detect them. Okay, this is changing. This is changing. Likewise, right? And sometimes even external environment changes. You can keep your internal body a normal level. right? So that what abilities we have, right? We have it from the nature, we have it, right? So these both abilities are there for us. Okay, so if I ask you what is coordination, right? Coordination means if the surrounding, the external environment, whichever the things changing, but the body has an ability to maintain it, to coordinate, right? Same times there will be stimuli. Okay, you need to know what is a stimuli, right? Even if the external body, external environment changes, okay, so these things could be detected by something, right? Could be detected by something, and the something is known as a stimuli, right? Okay, that ability is there, right? Okay, anyhow, we're going to look coordination and homeostasis. Okay, coordination and homeostasis. In coordination, I'm going to tell you two topics. One is nervous coordination. I will draw and show. The other one is chemical coordination. Nervous, chemical, right? So in this nervous coordination, you know, where are nerves? When I say nerves, you can go to brain, right? This nervous coordination, I'm going to separate this, right? This nervous coordination, okay? Nervous coordination divides into two parts, right? I will try and show you. Divides into two parts, right? One as central nervous coordination, the other one is as peripheral nervous coordination, right? One is central, the other one is peripheral. This central means actually the brain, okay? The brain, on the other hand, the spinal cord. You get it? Nervous coordination divides into two parts: central nervous coordination or central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system divides into two parts as brain and the spinal cord. Spinal cord can go through backside, right, through inside the vertebral column. This brain is located inside the skull, the cranium, right? Okay, it gives the protection. Okay, so right after that, this brain we can divide into several parts. For your syllabus, you only have to go with three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, right? Cerebellum, right? If cerebellum upsets, it's cerebellum, right? So cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. Other than few things I will teach you, right? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, right? Okay, nervous coordination, central nervous system, right? And brain and spinal cord was there. Brain, three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. On the other hand, spinal cord is there. Okay, we'll see how the spine works, spinal cord works, and there you must need to know a special name known as a reflex arc. Okay, what is it? Reflex arc, right? Okay, so knowing that, we'll move on to the peripheral side. Peripheral, this thing, which consists of 12 cranial nerves, 12 cranial nerves, and 31 spinal nerves. Okay, right. Okay, now we'll move on to the board and I'll show you what's there more and we'll continue the story. Okay. Okay, hope you can see me now. Hear me now, right? Okay. So I'll tell you this thing. Coordination was there, no? Right. So here, nervous functions or nervous system divides into two parts: central, peripheral. Okay, just listen to me properly. I'm not going to write properly because you must get the words properly to your brain, right? So central and peripheral nervous system, right? This central divides into two parts. What were those? Brain and spinal cord. Spinal cord, right? You know, spinal cord does it. Okay, this is the head, right? And this is the body. This is Mr. Hinia again today also, right? Here the vertebral column is there, like this, no? Right? From the brain itself it comes. I'll draw you and show you how the brain. Okay, so brain and it comes as vertebral column. Okay, 33 vertebrae you can find in every human being. There are 33 vertebrae, and from these vertebrae only this vertebral column has made up of. That's why we're having a backbone. This is known as the backbone, right? This backbone is hollow like this. Okay, so if I put something here, it will come from here. Okay, so if the spinal cord comes through here and comes until here, right? I hope you understood that, right? So the other part come here, the brain. The brain, we can have three parts: cerebrum, cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata, right? Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Spinal cord, we have to study about. The spinal cord starts with this medulla oblongata. Spinal cord starts with medulla oblongata, right? And the spinal cord like this, no, right? And we have to know about reflex arc. I'll tell you what is reflex arc. This peripheral nervous system, this is central. Central, you know what is central, and peripheral means side. Peripheral nervous system, right, have two parts. We have cranial nerves and we have spinal nerves. Okay, the nerve starts from the cranium, that means the skull, from the head, and starts from the spinal cord from here. Okay, so something starts from here. There are 31 pairs. Starts from these parts. There are 12 pairs. So cranial nerves, 12, not 12, 12 pairs. Spinal, 31 pairs. Right? So this is the brief introduction about the nervous system you have. Right? We have several stories today. Okay, to discuss. Right? See this one. That's okay. Nervous system, central, peripheral, central, brain, and spinal cord. Brain divides into three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata. And the other side, spinal cord. Spinal cord, and we have to know about the reflex arc and peripheral, also known as autonomic nervous system, right? Cranial, spinal, 12 pairs, 31 pairs. That's it. Done. Right? Okay. Now see the central nervous system and brain. I'm going to tell you about the brain, right? Brain, right? If I take from weight or the mass of your body, if you are 50 kilograms, okay, your brain is 1 kilogram. If you're 100 kilograms, your brain will be 2 kilograms. That means 2%. Okay, now as a calculation, this time sometimes they might give a question. Giribiris is 67 kilograms, right? Giribiris is 67 kilograms. And what is his brain's mass according to the theories? Okay, what do you have to do? 67 into 2 over 100 and solve it, right? You can solve it and take the mass of the brain. Okay, this is just an assumption. Like if you have the question, it is 2%, right, of the body mass. Okay, just to know. That is one thing. And you think this brain is just like the normal other organs? No, it has a high security. Okay, it has high security. You see, if this is the skull, inside this, the brain is situated like this. Brain is like that. Okay, there are 4 lobes. How many lobes? 4 lobes. How many lobes? 4 lobes. Frontal, okay. Here temporal, right? Frontal, temporal, occipital. The other one will be, what is other one? Can anyone tell me what is the other lobe? If you know that. Temporal, frontal, temporal, occipital. Other one? Can anyone tell me? Wow, good. 1.34 kilograms. Wow. Good. I'll tell you. Right? Before that, you need to know this is cerebrum. What is this? Cerebrum. And you need to know there are 4 lobes. Right? Parietal. The other one is parietal. Right? So frontal lobe here in the front, and occipital lobe back, right? And here parietal lobe, and here temporal lobe. And one thing you need to know, I'll draw you. Just see this. Okay. Here, after this, just below to the cerebrum, this is cerebrum. Cerebrum. Yes, you want to see how we have to draw cerebrum just below. Okay. Before that, if this is Mr. Hinia, he sees us. Okay. If I see his eyes, that is anterior. What is it? Anterior side. If I see the back side, I can't see actually. If I say the back side is posterior. Right? And if I say his head is superior and the bottom part is inferior. So you know 4 sides. Up and down, superior and inferior, front, anterior, back, posterior. You need to know this. Right? Okay. So just below, that means just inferior to the cerebrum, right? There is another thing, structure called as cerebellum. Cerebellum. Right? This is cerebellum. Right? And here, there's the midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, and the spinal cord moves like this. What was it? What was it? Midbrain is there, right? Pons is there, just to know pons. Medulla oblongata is there. And after that, spinal cord is there. You need to know. Right? Cerebrum, cerebellum, just below this. Okay. Anterior and inferior medulla oblongata is there. The other thing I want to tell, if the brain was like this, right? These 3 parts are there. No? Midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. These 3 we call it as mid or the brain stem. Brain stem. Okay. That one line. Brain stem. Right? So you need to know that one. Brain stem. Okay. Cerebrum, cerebellum, pons, medulla oblongata, spinal cord. You have this one, and this one for your syllabus. Right? Okay. Cerebrum is large, very large. But see, this is the brain. Here you can see lots of convoluted areas like this. Brain is convoluted. And this is the cortex. Okay. Cortex is very convoluted. Right? Why is that? Why is that? If something was like this, and if something was like this, what has the highest amount, the most amount of largest surface area? A or B? B. Okay, this has the highest surface area. More than this. This just line convoluted. So for increasing the surface area only, the brain, cerebrum or cerebellum are being convoluted, highly convoluted. Okay, so you have to know that. And inside the skull, this is the cranium or the skull, right? Inside the cranium, there are few layers, and inside the cerebrum also there are some cavities, right? So layers are there. We call it as meninges. Meninges. Okay, meninges. Inside these meninges and inside these cavities, inside the brain, right? Inside the brain, there are there's a fluid. There's a fluid, right? Just think, will you? Right? Inside this, there's a fluid, like a gel-like thing, right? It's a gel-like thing, it can give the protection. It will protect, okay, the brain through from these shocks and jerks, right? It can protect. First thing, it can protect, okay, and it can protect from the shocks and jerks, right? And if the bacteria tries to enter that gel, the cerebrospinal fluid has some special qualities, okay, to attack them, okay, so protect from them. So you have to know all these things, okay. So that is cerebrospinal fluid that you can see in the spinal cord as well, right? Cerebrospinal fluid you can see through these meninges and inside the cavities, right? So if they ask you for the functions of them, you can tell what for protection, from antibacteria or the antibodies, and the other thing, what you can tell, uh, absorb shocks and jerks, to absorb shocks and jerks, right? Because you're jumping, you're running, you're going here and there, you're doing several activities, right? In that time, you have to keep the brain stable, right? So that's why these meninges and cerebrospinal fluid is there. Okay, so I hope you get it, right? And now I'll come to the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, okay, largest part of the brain, which consists of four lobes, right? This has several functions. Now I told you a story, right? I told you a story. No, you just imagine. Okay, for we have five senses. How many senses? Five senses in our body. What is that? Okay, okay. So sense organs. Tell me sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, mouth or the tongue, and the skin. From eyes we have vision. From ears we can hear. Nose, smell. Tongue, taste, and skin, perception, or this feel. We can feel the pain and everything, right? So these every functions, five functions, sense functions, uh, controlled through this, controlled by this cerebrum. Other than that, we have muscles, no? Right? We have muscles, right? We have muscles. Uh, Voluntary muscles are there. No? That means we can control. We can control our tongue. We can control our hand muscles, like that biceps, triceps, and all. Right? We can control them. They are voluntary muscles, right? So this is cerebrum can control voluntary muscle movements, right? And the other thing, if we want to be a genius, we have to think a lot. We have to have a lot of intelligence, right? And we have to study, learning purposes for everything controlled by the cerebrum. I told several things, right? Okay, all the sensories, right? Other than that, voluntary muscle movements and intelligence, learning, work, skills, and everything controlled by this cerebrum, right? Okay. When it comes to cerebellum, if I say cerebellum, okay. For cerebellum, can anyone tell me what is the function of the cerebellum? Anyone? As same as here, it controls voluntary muscle movements. Voluntary muscle movements. Other than that, any functions? Right. Maintain the body balance. That's what I need. Right? It maintains the body balance. Okay. It maintains the body balance. Also, it involves in maintenance of the body movement. Why? It's controlling voluntary muscle movements. Okay. So the one thing, it controls voluntary muscle movements, involves in voluntary movements, right? That means if we think, if I want to go somewhere, I'm thinking and I'm going, right? If I go, the response thing is cerebellum. The special thing is the other one is body balancing. Okay, other part of the body which balancing the body is ear. Ear, right? Ear is also responsible. Okay, inside the ear, just think structure like this, right? Structure like this. So that that is the responsible for thing for body balance. Okay, so body balancing functions of this done. Cerebellum, voluntary movements as this, and involved in voluntary movements. Okay, this is for muscles, voluntary movements, and body balancing done. Medulla oblongata, right? Medulla oblongata, what is this? It does, it's like it's located anteriorly, no? See, located anteriorly and inferior to cerebellum. Okay, anteriorly and inferior to cerebellum. It's an important center, right? An important center which controls many life processes, right? You need to know many life processes, right? So first thing I can tell like that. We have a lot of involuntary actions. We talked about voluntary here, but we have involuntary actions like heartbeat. Can we control heartbeat? No, we can't. Can we control respiration? Yeah, sometimes we can. No, you think you can, right? But these involuntary actions, respiration and heartbeat, is mainly controlled by this medulla oblongata, right? And also it controls the reflux actions, right? As vomiting, coughing, swallowing, like this wise, it controls, right? And the special thing I want to tell you is here inside the cerebellum, this cortex area or the outer part we called as gray part, dark gray matter. Okay, gray matter, and inside we call it as white matter, right? Okay, just see this one, right? I'm going to draw a neuron. You all know neuron. What is neuron? Neuron is the structural unit in nervous system. What's it? Structural unit of the nervous system, and there should be a functional unit as well. I will tell you, right? So this is how you have to draw neuron. Coin, 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 right? And here, see, it's easy, right? Drawing is easy. Right. So this is the way how you have to draw. First, you have to draw like these things, and you have to draw like this and draw it like that, right? And I'm going to name them. This I called as cell body. What is it? Cell body. This is somewhat dark, right? And cell body. In the cell body, you can see a nucleus, right? Mitochondria, lysosomes, okay, ribosomes, lysosomes, and Golgi complex. Everything you can see inside this. Okay, a lot of ribosomes and lysosomes are there, right? Okay, and these things I call it as dendrites. What is it? Dendrites, right? Dendrites. And along this line is there, no? One line. I call it as axon and covering with myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. Actually, this is not like this, right? This is a neuron. Okay, this is a neuron like this, right? This is like this. What I'm doing is I'm cutting it just right half and separating it two pieces. Okay, so I can say a longitudinal or sagittal section, side section. This is the side section. After I'm cutting, okay, the rest part is here like this. Okay, so covering this, the myelin sheath is like this. If this is the axon, okay, myelin sheath is covering like this. Total. You get it? It's covering like this, right? So
This is myelin sheath, right? And here there are some places without myelin sheaths, right? Those are known as Ranvier nodes. What is it? Ranvier nodes. And this is called as axon, axon, right? And here there's bulbs like these things, okay, at the end of this. These are known as synapses vesicles. What's it? Synapses vesicles. This you have to go through grade 11 part 1, lesson number 1, right? You can be able to draw this. Okay, how I do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one like this, and draw through which couple of things. And here I can do this thing, and I put some nucleus and all, right? So that's the thing. And I put few coverings, and I named as sheath, myelin sheath, right? And it was like this. Get it? Right. So see this. You can see this cell body is there now. This is somewhat dark because having a lot of organelles like those things, right? And these parts fibers, right? Nerve fibers. No, these are nerve fibers. It's in white color. So see here, gray matter means here. Gray matter means cell bodies are there. An axon comes like this, and synapses vesicles are like this. So this part, interior part, white color. Exterior part of the brain is gray in color, gray matter, dark. So here also same. Okay, here also same, dark, and when it comes inside, it is whitish matter. Right. This is for cerebrum and cerebellum. Okay. Same. Meanwhile, spinal cord is bit different. Spinal cord is bit different, and you have to know the cerebrum or the brain is protected by, okay, brain is protected by the skull or the cranium, right? Likewise, the spinal cord is there. It is protected by vertebral column. Okay, it is protected by vertebral column. The spine also surrounding the spinal cord, there's cerebrospinal fluid. That's why they call it as cerebrospinal fluid. Surrounding the spinal cord also, this fluid is there. Okay, that's what, yeah, very protected. Right. If you have any questions, you can ask, right? Okay, so you need to know this, right? This is the structural unit of the nervous system. Okay, okay, right. Just take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to erase. I have to move to the other part. Right. Again, I'll show you how to draw the brain like this, right? And here, cerebellum is there, right? And midbrain, right? Pons, medulla oblongata, and spinal cord. And the other thing I want to tell you is, if I cut this in longitudinal way, okay, from here, like that, I'm cutting for this side, right? If I cut like this, I can see the inside section, right? I can see the inside section, right? Don't worry about the side sounds, right? Okay, so here, see, if I cut like this half, right? If I cut it half, I can see same structures I can see, okay? And the special thing is, I can see a middle hollow thing like this. Okay, it's hollow. And here thalamus is there, and hypothalamus is there. What is it? Thalamus, hypothalamus is there. Okay, if I cut half, this is midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, spinal cord, bericellum, cerebrum, okay, cerebellum. And here thalamus is there, structure called thalamus. And hypo means down. Hypo, down. Hyper means up. Hypotext, you know, hypertext means, if you want to write as indices, okay, x to the power 1 is hypertext, right? This is hypotext, right? Like that, like that. here hypothalamus, thalamus and lower than thalamus, hypothalamus is there. This is hypothalamus. Okay, this is responsible for a lot of functions. I'll tell you. Okay, and just after this hypothalamus, you can see two balls like this, two balls like that. Okay, that is known as pituitary. What is it? Pituitary, right? This is responsible for lots of hormones which produce in the body, right? Okay, so this side is anterior side now. Eye is on this side, right? Okay, eye is on this side. So this side is anterior side. This side means posterior side. Okay, cerebellum is there, the posterior side, right? Posterior, inferior cerebellum. Okay, to the cerebrum, right? So this one is known as anterior pituitary. This one is known as posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary. Okay, just you have to know this. This is hypothalamus. Okay, this is responsible for temperature regulation in the body, right? Okay, so you only need to this, and you will need this thing, right? Just keep in mind, this is hypothalamus, anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary. That's it, right? Okay, and I'm going to draw a helicopter, not a helicopter actually, like this. Very ugly, no? Okay, it's an egg. You know what I'm drawing. I'm drawing. Huh? You must see how I'm drawing, right? That is the most important thing, right? This side also same. Right? What I'm drawing is the cross section of a spinal cord. Cross section of the spinal cord. Okay, actually, this is like this, a disc, and after that, there's another disc. Okay, after that, this is vertebral column. Okay, inside this, the spinal cord is there. No? You can see the spinal cord, no? Right? If I cut this from here, I can see like this, a part like this. I'm cutting from here. You can see like this, isn't it? Okay, this colored section I can see just like this thing and like this. This is what I drew here. Okay, cross section of the spinal cord, and from here there will be ganglion. There will be nerves. From here there will be nerves. That means from the vertebral column, nerves coming out. Nerves coming out. Right. So these are the nerves which comes out. I'll tell you what are those nerves. Okay. So just think, here my hand is there. Okay, my hand is there. I feel there's fire. I feel hot. Okay, I feel hot. At the moment, I want to take my hand back. Okay, I want to take my hand back. So what I'm doing, there are a lot of sensory neurons. I told you, I show you know what is a neuron. There, okay. So like that, three types of neurons are there: sensory, motor neuron, and intermediate neuron. Okay, so I will feel something like that. Okay, this sensation coming to here, and here ganglion is there, basal ganglion, right? So here through dendrites, okay, through synapses vesicles, The interneuron, the intermediate neuron, it gains all the stimuli from here and starts to move through this and comes here, and here something happens. That means it knows what it has to do. Okay, it knows what it has to do, and from here again, wait, this could be this side, either this side. I will take this side only, right? So here there are actually 4 types. Okay, here it will remove. Okay, so and finally again this will go to the particular hand to take the hand, same hand to take the hand off, right? So receives, okay, receive the stimuli, okay, and what's happening, comes here. These parts are known as basal ganglions. The other thing, can you remember in cerebrum and cerebellum, I told you there's gray matter outside, white matter inside, isn't it? White matter inside, gray matter outside. But here white matter is outside, okay, white matter outside, gray matter inside, right? All cell bodies are inside this. Okay, this is known as a reflux arc. What is it? Reflux arc. Okay, reflux arc, actually this total thing is, we call it as the functional unit of nervous system. I told you previously the structural unit of nervous system is what? What is it? Neuron, right? But functional unit of nervous system is reflux arc, which consists of sensory neuron, motor neuron, and intermediate or interneuron, right? So consists of these things, this thing. Okay, reflux arcs means it works involuntarily without knowing, uh, without even knowing by the brain. Okay, so brain does not knows what it does. Suddenly, it works suddenly. You have a perception. If you feel something, okay, if you feel cold, if you feel hot, something, if there's a thorn, okay, there's a thorn, okay, which it's your leg, right? And at the particular moments, you take it without thinking even, right? You close your eyelids or something comes to your what, to your, towards your eyes, right? So this everything happens because of this reflux arcs. Okay, there are several cranial nerves and there are spinal nerves as well. This is because of reflux arc, right? That's what this happens here. Okay, so it's totally involuntarily suddenly happen. Okay, totally involuntarily suddenly happening things, we call it as reflux arc. Okay, so it comes under the reflux arc. Okay, so there will be a lot of things which totally suddenly happens. Okay, so that is the thing. You have to go through what are the things, okay, which comes under reflux arc. So this is, that is a hernia, right? And in known as, in southern province language, it is known as hernia, right? Okay, so this is the sagittal or the longitudinal section of the this thing, right? And this is the reflux arc, which consists of sensory, motor, and this neuron. Sometimes you can ask, sir, whether this comes from here and can't it go through this way? Yeah, yeah. There are some particular situations. Okay, according to the condition. If there's the condition is mild, they can go through the particular side. If the condition is very severe, yeah, going across this. Okay, that's a huge phenomena. You once when you go to the medical college, you will understand the proper thing, right? So this is the basic thing in this. Okay, this is sagittal or the longitudinal, a cross section of the spinal cord, right? And in the spinal cord, this part consists of sensory, inter, and motor neuron parts are known as reflux part. This is interneuron, okay, and this is sensory neuron which sense, and this is motor neuron which acts. Okay, so this is reflux arc. Just forget about this, right? Now, we'll move on to the story back. Right. So hope you can see me. Take it far away. Right. Hope you can see me. I'm not closer enough too much. Right. Okay. So the thing is, okay. Thing is, now we'll start from the story back. Story. Right. That was inside the tent. Okay. So we are inside the tent. We ate a lot the dinner. Okay. We made some barbecues and Right. And now we listen to this tickly sound in the night. Right? Okay. Can you hear the surrounding sound? Okay. A lot of sound variations are there. Right? Okay. So now you are inside the tent. You are inside the tent. And the thing is, now you're going to sleep. Right? And while you're sleeping, it's at midnight now. You're sleeping, it's midnight now. Right? So it's midnight. So what's happening? You want to go to washroom. Right? But in the forest, can you find any washrooms? Huh? Can you find any washrooms? Okay, you can't, right? So anyhow, you have to go out. Okay, now you are scared. Okay, you felt the beauty and you felt everything, right? But now this time you're scared. Okay, of fear. And however, you have to go out, right? Slowly, you're going outside. Okay, slowly you're going outside and you're going some far. Okay, you're going some far away from the tent. Okay, now it's too dark. Just close your eyes and now imagine you are getting out of the tent. Close your eyes, right? Start to imagine. Right? Now you are going out of the tent. Right? Totally dark. Just you can see only the shadows of the trees and all. Okay? You can see that chiri chiri sound at night. That sound. Right? And the thing is, you can see that chiri chiri sound now. Okay? After that. Okay? Now you see the surroundings. It's totally dark. Right? It's totally dark and scared and you're going. Okay, you're moving. You keep moving. Suddenly, you still keep moving. Suddenly a snake comes. A cobra. King cobra. Giant cobra. In front of yourself. It appears like that. Okay? Suddenly a cobra appears in front of you at the night. Now what are you going to do? Huh? Now what are you going to do? You're going to fight with it. At night, you are alone. You're going to fight with the cobra. Never. Right? Now what's happening? You just need to confirm it, right? You just need to confirm it. Is that a cobra? The black king cobra. Right? What are you going to do? What's happening? Okay? Twice becomes larger. Okay? So people becomes larger. Right? And you see it probably. Okay, I just confirmed it. That's a cobra. Done. Right? You start to find your saliva. You can't find your saliva. Saliva circulation is blocked. Finish. No saliva. Right? No saliva. Right? What's happening? Now your heart is like that. Right? And you're breathing very fast. Right? Now what do you have to do? Okay. Night you are eating, no? Okay. That means the blood supply should go to your stomach, no? At this moment, will it work? Huh? Will it work? Okay. All the stomach movements, all the peristalsis movement will stop. Right? Now you need more blood to your legs. You want to run, right? You want to run. Fight or flight. You can't fight. Actually, I know. Right? It's midnight. A king cobra. Okay. you're never going to fight, right? So at this moment, what's happening? You want to run, but why you came there? Huh? Why you came there? You want to go to washroom, right? No washroom, okay? You want to go to, you want to pass urine, right? But actually, at the moment, stop. Or sometimes at the same time, you'll be going there, right? Both of these could happen, right? But the thing is, it stops, okay? Your urge will stop, right? And what's happening? So just running, and running. Even you can't remember where you came from. Just running down, blah, this. And finally, go inside the tent. Done. Right? You are like that. And okay, now okay, my heartbeat comes down, right? Respiratory, it's okay. Now saliva starts to come. Okay. Okay, now your pupils get contracted. Right. This was a good story, right? And now what happened? Just think of the story. At the evening, morning and evening, you are like, oh well, you're superb. At the night, what happened? Suddenly, all gone. This story is an exam question. Not an exam question, right? Okay, this is what I'm giving. For exam question, if they ask you, can you remember when I'm starting the nervous coordination? I told you there are two parts. One is central nervous system, the other one is peripheral nervous system. I finished the central nervous system without you knowing. I talk to you about cerebrum, cerebellum. The time is over. It's working. Oh, good. Right? So we discussed about cerebrum, cerebellum, right? And the medulla oblongata and functions of them, right? And we came to the spinal cord, and I told you about spinal cord cross section, and I told you how it protected through cerebrospinal fluid, and I told you what is reflex arc, what is the function of that. Okay, right? So after that, okay, so after this, I will talk about peripheral nervous system now. Okay, I got it. So peripheral nervous system now. Peripheral nervous system means autonomic nervous system. Okay, it's with 12 cranial nerves. 12 cranial nerves. Okay, and 31 spinal nerves. Also, we divide this peripheral nervous system into two parts: sympathetic trunk and parasympathetic trunk. What was that? Sympathetic trunk and parasympathetic trunk. In the peripheral nervous system or the autonomic nervous system, right? The two things happens totally opposite. Okay, if the sympathetic trunk doing something, the parasympathetic trunk does the totally opposite of that, right? So sympathetic and parasympathetic totally opposite. Now we'll move on to the story. I told you saw king cobra. What happened? Your eye being broader, retracted. Your pupil inside your eye being retracted. That is first point. When the sympathetic trunk activates, your pupils get enlarged. That is first point. Okay. Second point, your salivation, the salivary gland will stop secretion of saliva. That's the second point. You couldn't even have some saliva at the time, right? Third point, your respiration or the aeration will be increased in sympathetic trunk. Okay, you breathe very fast. Fourth point, your heartbeat increased, right? Your heartbeat increased, doubled. That's fourth. Fifth point, your blood supply will stop. That means your peristalsis movements will stop. Okay, the stomach. You ate at night, but now the blood does not goes there, right? The peristalsis movement will stop. Okay, will be reduced. Fifth point. Sixth point. Okay, you will gain the blood to your
hands and legs, actually through muscles to fight or flight. 6 point. 7 point. 7 point. You forget your urge. The urge is being disabled. Okay, this is for sympathetic trunk. And the totally opposite, after you go into the tent, what happened? Your eye gets to normal position, it's contracted, salivation again started, right? Respiration becomes normal, decreased, heart become normal, decreased, right? And after that, blood will start to move to the stomach to digest, okay? So peristalsis movement starts. Your urge will come back. Now your urge will come back, right? And blood will get decreased from your muscles. This is the thing of autonomic nervous system. Okay, for this we need few nerves, right? So this is what happens in autonomic nervous system. You need to know that. This is the total thing of nervous system. Okay, just forget about that. Just forget about the story, right? Forget about the story. Other than this, Gangapatang Yanatana cool is there for you, right? Gangapatang Yanatana cool is there for you. Before that, I must tell. Okay, we'll go to homeostasis. Homeostasis, right? We started nervous coordination. We didn't go yet to the hormones, not yet to the chemical coordination, right? This is neurons was there. I want to tell this. Inside the brain, you can find some special accessories. They are known as a neuroglia. What is it? Neuroglia. Billions of them are there, right? The neurons, they're specialized in the brain. Inside the brain, they are known as neuroglia. Just get it, right? Right. So hormonal coordination is there. That means chemical coordination. Keep it aside. We'll move on to homeostasis. I want to say you 2 stories. Third story will be there with Hinia in the beam. What? Hinia inside the beam. That is next session, right? Hinia goes inside the beam and you will find a lot of things. Okay? With that I tell you, there's another story. I want to tell you 2 stories again. Right? 2 stories means like stories, not stories. You know homeostasis? Homeostasis, which means surrounding total environment will be changed. It will become cold, it will become hot, whatever. It will become whatever. But your internal body should be at constant level, no, isn't it? Right? Your internal body should be constant, right? So, for this, there are some activities which happens inside the body that is known as homeostasis. Okay, keep the body constant level, whatever that happens surrounding. Okay, actually we tell it as internal body. Okay, keep internal environment stable, whatever that happens in out environment. Okay, this internal environment, I can tell it as cells. Cells are there, a lot of cells are there. No? Okay, surrounding cells, there's space now, intercellular space now. This intercellular space is also filled with some fluid. What? Fluids. Okay, this fluids is known as tissue fluid. One is tissue fluid. The internal organ, okay, internal environment. One is tissue fluid surrounding the cells. Other one is, the blood. In the blood vessels, the liquid part. Other than the blood cells, we have a plasma. That is we call as blood plasma. So this blood plasma also comes under this internal environment, right? So this, right? So keep in mind that, and we have to find out what happens when the temperature suddenly drops down in the environment. Now I'm like this, right? I'm normal. But think, just suppose if it is like this, it's too cold. Okay, I will feel too cold now. Okay, surrounding, it starts to rain. Okay, starts to rain. It's too cold, right? Too cold. So without knowing by myself, okay, my body get ready to few things. Usually my body's temperature is 37 Celsius. Okay, it can be vary for 36 to 37.5. That's okay. Okay, what's the amount? 37 Celsius. It can be vary 36 to 37.5. Right? But okay, also known in Fahrenheit, 98.4. 98.4 Fahrenheit. They call it. Right? And the special part is I'll delete the right. Special part is if the external environments or the environment temperature drops down, it's cold. Now it's cold. I want to maintain my body balanced because we are homeothermic. Okay, we want to stabilize our body temperature. Okay, so for this thing, when environment becomes colder, that means temperature drops down inside our body, blood vessels are there now. Blood vessels are there now. If the blood vessels are becomes enlarger, it will produce lots of heat and lots of heat will be lost. So what's happening? These blood vessels get narrower and narrower and narrower. Okay, near to the skin, the blood vessels get narrower. Okay, so this will collect total heat inside the body. Okay, this will keep inside the heat inside the body. And after that, what's happening? All the sweating glands will be closed. So no sweating. It will not sweat. You know this thing, right? In the cold environment, will you sweat? No, right? So this happens, okay, according to the temperature drops down. This happens inside the body. So first thing, blood vessels become narrower. Second thing, the sweating glands and all lost. Seen. Third one, okay, your hairs here will erect, isn't it? If you get too cold surrounding get cold, your hairs will get erect like this. And after hairs getting erected, okay, there will be a layer of air layer. You will create an air layer, and that air layer will protect the heat inside the body without getting lost. Right? So these things happening. Okay, these things happening. And when the temperature drops down in the environment, what are you going to do? It feels like cold. Okay, we'll get shivered now. Right? We'll get shivered now. Okay, I told you 4 things. After shivering, what's happening? Body itself, it produces heat. Okay, so what's happening inside the body? Blood vessels being narrower near the skin, so it will protect the heat inside your body. And I told you sweat glands will be closed, and I told you there will be an air layer here, right? And I told you will be shivering and produce heat inside the body to get into a constant amount. Okay, so that's happening, right? And other than that, we can do what are we doing? We're putting some huge clothes like this, and we protect our heat. Okay, protect our temperature balance. Right. So that's for if the temperature drops down in the environment. What do you think if the temperature goes up too hot? 47 Celsius. Now, external environment 47 Celsius. Can you bear? You can't, right? So at this moment, what you should do? You want to take off your heat out of the body, right? You want to make a body a cool area, right? Now what you going to do? Okay, sweating glands will be open and starts to sweat. Okay, and the blood vessels was there now. Nearby blood vessels will get broader. What's happening? It will produce a lot of heat and heat loss. Okay, and the temperature increase in the external environment. You want to get your body cold, right?
so that you want to make heat loss, right? When sweating is happening, okay, when sweat comes out, it will evaporate, and you will feel like bit cold. And you put some put fans also. It's too hot, you put fan to make your body cold. Okay, so this is an external thing. Other than internal things was this blood vessels get narrow, broader, and sweating glands are open, starts to sweat and evaporate. This is the thing how the body controls temperature. This thing mainly happen from the hypothalamus. I told you, hypothalamus like a mountain. Okay, mountain is there, and down that two pituitary glands was there. No, I'll come to pituitary glands. Before that, you need to know what is hypothalamus. So hypothalamus only identifying this heat difference and start to react. So I told you 4 points on that, 2 points on this. Okay, right. So you must need to remember that. Apart from that, now I'm going to move, before coming to the diabetic patients, I'm going to move to the hormonal coordination. Okay, chemical coordination. Okay, so chemical coordination is there, right? Chemical coordination is there. It's like hormones, right? Hormones. Actually, they are organic compounds. Okay, they don't have valves open. They're just directing the chemical formulas or the chemical compounds direct to the blood, and through blood only they are moving. They're not speed like the nervous coordination. Okay, that's a little bit slow, right? So in this hormonal coordination, we have to study few hormones. Few hormones you have. Will be something interesting, right? I want to tell you Gangapatang Ganadana cool. Cool. What is it? Right. If I say like this, hypothalamus is there. Hypothalamus. It also secretes some amount of hormones. Ganga, Patan, Ganna, Tana, cool. Ganga, G. Ganga, G. You stay there. Ganga, Patan, Gan, Tan, cool. Okay. Here, GNRH. What is it? GNRH. Here, PRH. Here, keep it. TRH. Here, CRH. Ganga, Patan, Ganna, Tana, cool. Okay. This also like that. Here, GRH. GRH, PRH, here GNRH, TRH, CRH, Ganga, Patan, Ganna, Tana, cool. These are the hormones which secreted by hypothalamus. What is it? Ganga, Patan, Ganna, Tana, cool. GRH, PRH, GNRH, TRH, CRH. Okay. This is growth hormone releasing hormone. What is it? Growth hormone releasing hormone. Here, growth hormones, you know what is that, right? It's the thing which grows our body, I tell you. PRH, prolactin releasing hormone. Prolactin means, breast. Okay. For making breast milk in pregnant mothers, okay, to make produce breast milk, you need PRH, right? With GNRH for producing LH and FSH. I'll tell you what are those. Okay, LH and FSH produced by ovaries as well as testicles. TRH, thyroxine releasing hormone. Thyroxine releasing hormone. CRH, cortisol releasing hormone. Right? Right? What I want to tell is, see here, there are some things responsible. There are some things responsible for our activities. Okay, if I say pituitary, anterior, posterior. Okay, there are a lot of hormones. I'm not going to tell. Here I'm going to talk about GH, growth hormone for you. Posterior pituitary, you know the place, right? Hypothalamus was like this in the brain, and 1, 2. Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, hypothalamus. Right? So anterior pituitary, I'm going to tell about only about GH, not about prolactin. Prolactin I told you, no? Okay. That means hypothalamus has the releasing hormone. From this hypothalamus, releasing hormones comes to this pituitary and it stimulates growth hormone. Right? Stimulates growth hormone to come out. So this growth hormone will increase the protein synthesis in the body. Protein synthesis in the body. So that the body tissues will grows up, as well as the bones and every part of the body will grow. If it is very high, there's a name. You have to find it. The growth is very high. There's a name. You have to find it and tell me. Okay. If it is very low, there's another name. We call it as small people. What do you call dwarfs? Okay, dwarfs. So dwarfism is there, and I'll tell you. Other one is gigantism. Okay, if GH is very high in a human being, gigantism. GH is very low, it is dwarfism. Right? Kurumitas cooperation. Right? So what's happening from GH? Increasing protein synthesis. From that, building tissues and all the body parts. Right? So can you please repeat CRH function? Okay, I'm coming from here. I'll tell you. Right? So, and the other thing is B. Cortisol. Cortisol means aldosterone and cortisol is there. I'll tell you. Right? Cortex. Here, protein synthesis, body tissues grows, and bones and all the parts grows from GH. And if it increase too much, gigantism. If it is decrease too much, reduces too much, it is dwarfism. Right? This is from anterior pituitary. From posterior pituitary, it releases oxytocin. Oxytocin and ADH. ADH, I will tell you in when we go to the beam session, right? Here is inside the beam next session. Okay, oxytocin means okay. From prolactin, I'll tell you this also. From prolactin produced in the anterior pituitary. What is doing? What's the function of it? It produces breast milk. Okay, produces breast milk, and what's happening from its oxytocin? It ejaculates the breast milk outside of the body once it feels right. If the child is keeping his mouth on the breast of the mother, right, and it will feel, it will like stimulate there, it goes to the brain, and at the moment from hypothalamus it will release some pituitary, posterior pituitary, it will release oxytocin hormone, right, and after that only the breast milk will ejaculate, okay, or releases, okay, secretes, right, starts to go out. ADH means this is responsible for body water balance. Okay, if the water is increased inside the body, you will pass lot of urine. The water is decreasing the body, that means decreasing the blood, you will pass less amount of urine. I'll tell you that phenomena when you're talking about the beams, right? This is for all about pituitary. After that, we have to go to thyroid. Okay, you know where to find the pituitary, just below to hypothalamus. Okay, this just below to hypothalamus in the brain, right? Thyroxine or the thyroid. Thyroid, actually there are two parts, thyroid and parathyroid. I'm going to talk about thyroid. Okay, thyroid you can find here. You can find here thyroids. Okay, you know the patient with thyroxine, what's the problem with them? It's become like this, right? So thyroids are here, right? Thyroids are there, thyroid glands. Okay, see here. So thyroid glands, from thyroid gland, it creates two types of hormones. Create two types of hormones, right? You need to know the area, that's why I show you. Thyroid's two types of hormones. One is calcitonin. One is thyroxine. calcitonin, by its name, if there's calci, we feel like it should increase the calcium level, no? But no, it decreases the calcium level in the blood. Decreases the calcium level in the blood. Thyroxine, sorry, right? Thyroxine, it maintains the body balance. It maintains the body activities actually, right? It's like a timer, right? It maintains the all the body functions and activities, right? After thyroid, we'll go to pancreas. Pancreas, I need this one to explain the diabetics. That's why I told. Pancreas, it have two types of cells in islets of Langerhans. Langerhans Deepika. Deepika Padukone. It's Langerhans Deepika, known as islets of Langerhans, right? You know where you can find? If this is stomach, this is stomach. Okay, in the bend of the duodenum, you can find pancreas. Okay, inferior to the stomach and superior to the intestine, you can find, right? So this is Langerhans, and islets of Langerhans you can find everywhere, right? These islets of Langerhans, it produces two types of cells, alpha cells and beta cells. What are those? Alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells and beta cells. These alpha cells produces glucagon. Glucagon, right? And beta cells produce insulin. You must heard of this, insulin, right? Alpha cells glucagon, beta cells insulin. Glucagon increase glucose level. Glucagon increase glucose level, while insulin decrease glucose level in the body. I'll tell you, right? Next, adrenal glands. Adrenal glands. Okay, adrenal glands, where you can find kidney is there, no? Kidney is there. Top of the kidney, you can find adrenal glands. Okay, this stimulates adrenaline. This is also like, can you remember sympathetic trunk? I told you in the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic trunk. Okay, fight or flight, acts quickly. That's happening from this adrenaline also. Okay, so fast actions required are done by like heartbeat increasing, fight or flight, those actions. Same as sympathetic trunk. You can write adrenaline as a same as sympathetic trunk, right? After that, what do you have? Pituitary done, thyroid done, pancreas done, adrenaline done, testicles. Testis or testicles. Testis produces testosterone. What is it? Testosterone. This will be the responsible hormone to secondary sexual characteristics of boys. Okay, you have to find out what are secondary sexual characteristics. That means coming beard, right? Shoulders get broadened, right? Pubic hairs will be there, right? Likewise, you have to find it out. Okay, in that lesson I will tell you very detailed, right? Testis, testosterone, and this thing, right? In ovaries, testicles, you know where it's out of the body. Okay, down the abdominal cavity, down the penis, and testes are there, right? So it's out of the body, right? Next thing, ovaries. Ovaries you can just find just down from the kidney. Time's up. End of the session, right? Wait another 7 minutes more, right? Ovaries. The last session is going on. Ovaries, right? Ovaries will make estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen, progesterone, these are hormones which is responsible for your menstrual cycle of girls. Okay, after being adults, right? These are the responsible hormones to make secondary sexual characteristics in girls, right? And the other thing, this is mainly these both hormones, they requires to keep menstrual cycle in a proper manner, and also uh, the womb a place to good for pregnancy, right? So these are controlled by these estrogen and progesterone hormones. So these are the hormonal activities which happens inside the body, right? So from here to here. Okay, now come here, glucagon and insulin. I have a small story and we'll finish the session, right? Go there, right? So here, glucagon and insulin is there. I told you, no, pancreas was there in the bend of the duodenum, right? And glucagon and insulin was there, right? This glucagon and insulin, okay, produced through islet pancreas. Inside that structures are the islets of Langerhans, right? Islets of Langerhans. These islets of Langerhans, there are alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells produces glucagon, while beta cells produces insulin, right? What's happening when I'm starving now? I'm starving. Now what's happening? I'm starving now. So my blood glucose level goes down, right? My blood glucose level goes down, right? So when my blood glucose level goes down, what I should do from my body, it starts to increase the glucose level, right? If I'm starving, I don't have proper food. If I'm lost with glucose, what's happened? The body itself starts to produce glucose. So Langerhans Deepika, or the islets of Langerhans, alpha cells stimulated, glucagon stimulated. What's happening? In my liver, there will be glycogen. Okay. In my muscles also, there will be glycogen. Okay. So what's happening? This glycogen will be turned into glucose by glucagon hormone. Alpha cells, glucagon stimulates this glucagon, right? What it does is, it turns glycogen in the liver to glucose, right? And it will give me glucose, right? That's a big process. This is a simple process for you. Okay, now think, I'm eating too much, right? Now what's happening? I'm eating too much. Now glucose level went up, right? Blood glucose, normally blood glucose level is 120, 80. It's like BP. Okay, 80 to 120 milligrams per 100 ml. 120, 80 to 100 milligrams should be there in particular 100 milliliters of blood, right? Now I'm eating too much, increase, right? Goes up. Now what should happen? The brain understands that and send some stimuli to the pancreas, okay, islets of Langerhans. Beta cells will active, insulin will active, insulin hormone will active, and now what's happening? Insulin will have active, and what's happening? Huh? The blood glucose will change back into the glycogen and stores in liver. Okay, and the excess glucose will be going into adipose tissues. That's why that we have belly, no? Okay, if you have belly, like this, right? So that means adipose tissue is there, fat tissue. Okay, this excess glucose, what will happen? Turn into lipids and stores in adipose tissues. Okay, otherwise the glucose will turn into glycogen and stores in liver. So these things, what will happen? Okay, and the thing is, something could happen to, if something had happened to beta cells in islets of Langerhans, what's happening? Insulin production will, right, blast. Now what's happening, right? No insulin, blood glucose level will increase, and diabetes. Okay, function of beta cells goes down. No function of beta cells, no production of insulin, blood glucose level goes up, diabetes, right? So this is what we call diabetes, right? And so at this moment, what's happening? When you have diabetes, you have to take some tablets, metformin, like that, right? Otherwise, you have to inject
insulin, right? So that's what people doing. So this is what diabetes, right? So alpha cells makes glucagon, increase glucose level. When it decrease inside the body as glycogen. Okay, glycogen will turn into glucose. When we having lots of glucose, like islets of Langerhans, beta cells, insulin is there hormone. It will decrease the glucose level, right? When it increases. So we see the phenomena, and I will tell you how the water balance happens. The next session when we talking about Hinya's journey in the bean. Okay, Hinya's journey in the bean. Next session will be like that, and from this, okay, we've designed something and we are completing some parts which are necessary for you. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Hope you got coordination, homeostasis, we're done. Okay, without knowing, you know already. You know everything. Nervous coordination, done. Okay, chemical coordination or hormone coordination, done. Just go and read now. You will know everything, right? And I told you the percentage thing. Just keep in mind that. And after that, I told you all the hormones and told you 2 stories. And I told you Kuti story also. So just need to know that Kuti story. You all need to know the Kuti story. If they ask you any questions regarding autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic, sympathetic drum, you know how to answer, right? You have 14 points just by that little Kuti story, right? Okay, so that was that. And after that, I told you about the sugar, diabetes thing, right? And how do we control the temperature of the body, right? And okay, so you can comment whether you understood or not the lesson, right? Is good or not. Okay, I want to go with the Kuti story, right? Pay attention. You all listened to me, I think, right? You all heard me properly, right? And what is the song? Story. How was my Kuti story? You can comment, right? How was my Kuti story? You can comment in the group. You will have 10 minutes for that. And Chumpang is coming, right? So we'll see you on the next session with Hinya's beans journey, right? I'll tell you what is that when we meet at the next session. Don't miss it out. That will be this thing, right? So everyone, goodbye for today.